right, and welcome back to another Raptors podcast. I'm your host, as always, Lucky Roberts, as we see another three-loss week for the Toronto Raptors as they continue their bid for one of the top spots in the NBA draft lottery. The most recent loss being a 125-139 win for the New York Knicks, which seems like we played the Knicks every single game this year. It's kind of incredible. This one being, I guess it's just back-to-back weeks with games against the Knicks. A very high-scoring game. OG Anunoby drops 31 to plus 25. He was just spectacular on both sides of the court, and especially offensively, which is something you don't really see. 13 for 15 for OG, together with Karl Anthony Towns going 11 for 15. Sort of helps supplement a poor game from Jalen Brunson. And the New York Knicks really ran away with it in the second quarter. Just a barrage of three-pointers and a barrage from OG Anunoby, who brought a lot into this game. And it sort of speaks to the strength of the New York Knicks is they can have games when Brunson doesn't play well and you don't get a lot from Mikal Bridges or Josh Hart. And you have other guys step up, like a Karl Anthony Towns in this one, and you have another guy step up in OG Anunoby. Off the bench, you have Cam Payne with 19 points, who continues to impress me as they continue to run a strict 8-man lineup, running 48 minutes up on Mikal Bridges, even when you were dominating this game. But on the Raptors side of the ball, that's enough Knicks talk. Scottie Barnes back into the lineup. I only missed a couple of games, it's good to see. But the Raptors' fortunes haven't really changed in these games. Barnes with 24, 8 assists, not as many rebounds, but what can you say? We saw the start from Jonathan Mobo without. It's interesting. You didn't see Kelly Olynyk move into the starting lineup without Pirtle. You see Jonathan Mobo going into the starting lineup, although they both played similar amounts of minutes. Mobo negative 20, not a good game for him or Abaji, the young guys. I guess they're all young guys in the starting lineup, but the young guys who haven't really proven themselves in the league. And Mobo just struggled defensively as well, just trying to guard Karl Anthony Towns from three. Because Karl Anthony Towns, he's not going to beat you off the dribble, which is something that Jonathan Mobo plays really well as on-ball defenses. Karl Anthony Towns is just going to catch it and shoot it. And Mobo really just couldn't stop Cat, and especially in the post as well. And Cat was able to get his spots and really make him pay. Abaji struggled as well. And not a big center is Mobo. We saw Karl Anthony Towns really able to eat against him. Chris Boucher plays similar amounts of minutes to both of them, and at least brought something offensively, which we see similarly in the Rockets game earlier this week, where Chris Boucher just bringing a lot of energy to this team, infusing him with it. But look, you're not going to win a lot of games giving up 139 points, and I think that's the that's the big issue. Jacoby Walter with another big game off the bench. Just a struggle against the Knicks, but that's going to happen. You're at Madison Square Garden, and the Knicks are a good basketball team with Karl Anthony Towns and OG Anunoby popping off, and you're going to do what you can, but defensively this team needs to tighten up. We need to protect the basket more, and it's hard to do without Pirtle for sure, but you'd like to see Mobo take those steps because that's really where he's going to earn his minutes in this league. And today was not a forward step for Mobo at all. And when we lost that, we don't really have anybody on the bench we can come in to provide that. We tried to find it with Shamshay getting 4 minutes, and he did go +5. But, yeah, we don't have a backup big to Pirtle, and it's something that teams that do have a big can really, really exploit against us. But anyway, a tough loss against the Knicks. Let's move on to a Rockets-Raptors game, which was a lot more close throughout. And it was a game where, a lot of former Raptors in the league now, and we see Fred VanVleet coming back. And it's a game where he really struggled. Fred VanVleet 1 for 10 from the field. 0 for 5 from 3, which was really shocking. I mean, he was pulling up these catch and shoot threes on the hash that he loves to hit in this in Scotiabank Arena. It was not falling for him, and it was are my eyes correct? What's going on here? But even without that, he still had 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and his off the box score numbers may not be looking great, but in between the numbers, he's still as effective as a point guard running this offense, setting the tone for this Rockets team. And I think he's a big part of the culture change in Houston. Obviously, you're gonna credit head coach there in Houston with turning them around, but it's just overall being quite incredible. And you see another player who could be the reason for that turnaround, Dylan Brooks, who got a big payday 2 seasons ago. 27 points for him, a lot at the free throw line. We kept fouling Dylan, but he kept knocking him down. 27 points, did have 6 turnovers, which was a little rough, but it was really able to get to the line. And some fun things he said after the game. He's like, this is one of 2 places I'm actually loved. And it's interesting because it's probably true. And also, maybe not 100% of the population in Toronto loves Dylan Brooks, but he's a hard guy to love for sure. Jabari Smith Jr. with a good game. Şengün as well, not forcing his game. It's a better game for Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks. You're going to keep feeding them the ball and keep the ball moving. Jalen Green, 22 points, 7 rebounds. He's just such an interesting player because what do you do with him financially? Like, I am sure he's going to think that he's commanding a big salary. Let me just look up if he's actually signed an extension or not. I don't think he has. I think he has 1 more year on his rookie deal but he's going to be looking for a big payday, but I don't really know if he's worth it. 3-year, $106 million. That's about, let's call it 33 a year, a little upwards of that, and that's kind of incredible for the type of player that Jalen Green is, where he's just a score-first guy. You're not really getting anything outside of that, and he's just a pure scorer. I feel like you could find a lot of pure scores, but I guess also, the market's going up, the amount of cash is going up for these contracts, so maybe 33 a year isn't going to be looking too steep as the cap continues to grow, but it still seems a lot to lock down in a Jalen Green type player. But I guess you can say the same thing about Scottie Barnes and IQ, who've combined missed a lot of games. Just combined missed a lot of basketball this year. But we're not looking to win like the Rockets are, and I guess they see that their time is now, and they're trying to capitalize on it. It'll be interesting. I don't think Fred VanVleet's coming back at that salary, $40 million a year, and I don't think Dylan Brooks is going for $30 million a year as well. Good to see Reed Sheppard take the court. Cam Whitmore is good. They have a lot of young, just great guys where they're struggling to get Jock Landale, Reed Sheppard, Steven Adams is not playing, Jeff Green struggling to get all these guys minutes because that's how good of a deep of a roster these Houston Rockets have, and a really young one and a fun season for them. I think Raptors could have a similar season 2 years from now. Off the bench, Jamal Shed, Chris Boucher, like I said, really, really impactful. Jacoby Walter as well, 27 points. He actually started in this one, and it was the right call because he was just on fire, especially in that second half, just hitting 3 after 3 after 3, and it was sort of similar play to the explosion that Grady Dick had at the beginning of the season, and you can see the similarities between the two, and the reason why, it's going well with Grady. Let's copy it and paste it and get a boy named Jacoby Walter. And he plays with a lot of heart, and it's really impressive to see the Raptors continue to hit on these draft picks, even in a rough draft class like this last one was. It's amazing to see, and you see some great minutes, like I said, from Jamal Shed, who had 11 points, 10 assists. He was 6 rebounds. He was really running at us. Came into the game to end instead of Mobo, who once again had a struggle as a starter. Jamal Shed comes into the lineup to finish, and as well as Chris Boucher, and they really, really give a run at it in that fourth quarter to the Houston Rockets. Ended up tying it with a chance with a really boneheaded turnover there by Dylan Brooks to end it. And the Raptors had 3 seconds left. They throw the ball into Grady Dick. Grady Dick tries to buy some time. He passes it out to Kelly Olynyk, and it bounces off somebody and out. I don't think it was Kelly Olynyk, but that's what the ref saw, quickly pointed over, and the Raptors didn't have a challenge. And the Raptors give it right back to the Houston Rockets after just winning it. With an opportunity to tie the game. I don't think we would have scored the shot we took, but with Jacoby Walter shooting the way he was, and Grady Dick's always a reliable shooter. Obviously, you can't go to Scottie Barnes in this situation with only 6 points and 0 for 8 from 3 when you need a 3. It's just a missed opportunity. It was also a good game from Agbaji, who running the floor as always, 5 rebounds. As we move on to the final game of this week, I guess the first one as well, against the Brooklyn Nets, the Raptors lose, and this is one that Scottie comes back for, 16 points, 6 assists, still trying to get healthy, as he seems to be doing constantly. Mobo in the starting lineup was bad once again, negative 13. A little bit better, but still offensively he's just nothing. And if you're not getting good interior defense with your good perimeter defense, it's just not worth a starting spot. And I'd like to see Kelly Olynyk or Chris Boucher take that spot. Maybe even I'd take Chris Boucher. It's been a struggle with Mobo, but we're trying to teach him. I think it's a learning opportunity. Maybe we're also throwing these games a little bit for the young player. Scottie Barnes coming back. Agbaji with 20 points. He was good against the Nets. 5 rebounds. Like I said, running the floor as always. Grady Dick with 19. And we're a little deep as well. We have our players ebb and flow, but we're still giving a lot of minutes to Jamison Battle. We're still giving a lot of minutes to Jamal Shed and Mobo, who are players I just don't think are quite ready to be starting players in the NBA. Rotation players, I guess, in the NBA. I think next season we should hopefully see that development from them, especially in the ways that they are needing to develop defensively and offensively. For both Shed, Mobo, and Jamison Battle. I don't know. Jamison Battle's got a lot less room, a lot less leash, just not being a drafted player. So we'll have to see how he develops. But if he keeps knocking down the threes, he'll find a spot in the NBA. That's for sure. As we look at the Brooklyn Nets, Cameron Johnson for my fantasy team was really, really exquisite. 33 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks. Like a 60-point performance there from Cam Johnson, which really helped me win my week as I improved to 5-3 in second place in the league. I'm pretty happy about that. And other good games from Shake Milton, Noah Clowney, Ben Simmons was, dare I say, a little bit impressive. As the Brooklyn Nets, that's all it takes to beat the Raptors, really, in a rough game and a continually rough season. As we look to the future games here for the Toronto Raptors in the upcoming week, and before the new year swings over, we have a game against the Memphis Grizzlies and then Atlanta, and then one on the December 31st against Boston. I'll be back against Atlanta. Just 2 games for you this week. Maybe I'll catch you after the Boston game. We'll see how it's going, but just a rough week and a continual amount of rough weeks. But with Barnes back, we should see the Raptors be a little bit more competitive in these games. Anyway, thanks for listening to the Raptors podcast. I appreciate you guys for listening. It's been a long Christmas season for me, as it hasn't even happened yet, but fighting through it and getting everything I need to done so I can celebrate Christmas with my family. So I appreciate you guys for listening and making me part of your Christmas season, holiday season. And I'll see you guys next week after the Memphis and Atlanta games.